What's up, Richard?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. Doing well. Nice to meet you. I'm Kevin. Welcome to I Ask No One.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you
So are you a drummer?
I am. I am.
Okay.
I
All
break
right.
stuff. I got a broken cymbal back there from Lars Ulrich, sad but true, but yeah, every once in a while. Are you a drummer?
All
Well, yeah,
right.
you were a
No.
drummer.
Well, I mean, I played drums as a kid.
Right, right. And you're in St. Louis right now?
I am.
Okay. Never been to St. Louis before in my life, but we're here in Buffalo, New York. I would love to go to St. Louis one of these days for some barbecue. Just off the top of your head, is there a place that I got to go to, like maybe a mom and pop joint?
I mean, the most famous barbecue place is, I think, Sugar Fire, but I don't eat barbecue, so I don't know what the best is.
Okay, got it.
But Emo's Pizza is a big one. That's St. Louis style pizza, which is sort of a must experience thing.
All right, all right. Duly noted. I'm going to include both of their websites in the description below. Right here, right now, we have Richard Fortus of Guns N' Roses. Man, I am honored. Thank you so much for the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I like your jacket.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's numbered and everything. Dodger Stadium. Um, Man, I went right to the rainbow from that show, and everyone was like, they thought I was part of the band. And this girl on the second floor, she comes up to me. She's like, "Oh, where's Saul? Where's he at?" And Saul is Slash's first name, right?
Yeah. Anybody that refers to him as Saul is not a friend. It's his. Because
Okay,
nobody I know calls him Saul.
gotcha, gotcha. He's not Saul Goodman. He's not. He's just Slash. That's it. Fucking
No.
Slash.
Yeah.
And yeah, hey, Buffalo, New York. You ever been to Buffalo before?
I have
Yeah, well, of
several
course.
times.
Yeah, you were here in Orchard Park in 2017 at the stadium, the Bills Stadium. That was a hell of a time right there. But any memories jumping out at you about Buffalo, New York at all?
I remember playing theaters there early on in my career. I think with the Psychedelic Furs, and then again with Love Spit Love, and had a girlfriend from Buffalo for a while, and yeah, it was. I mean, it's a great city. It's what's the Anchor
Yeah, it was the Anchor Bar.
famous? Yeah, the Anchor Bar.
The Anchor
Remember
Bar,
that
yeah,
place?
it's the most well-known wing joint. But if you were to come here, maybe come to Duff's next time, or I'll bring you some kind of a soiree of chicken wings if you're down. Yeah.
I don't eat chicken, but it's good to know.
Okay. Yeah, we're learning. All right then. Good. Well, I just want to say, man, right off the top of the bat, cheers to you. This year is 20 years in Guns N' Roses. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. That's
All right.
right.
All right. Hell yeah.
20 years.
Got some liquid death here. Murder Your Thirst out of Austria. Cheers.
All right.
Non-alcoholic. It's water. It's very clean water. And
I've
they
had it.
have you? Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, it comes in still and sparkling. And like to start off with the little fact of the day. So today, January the 7th, Black Sabbath's Paranoid record dropped in 1971. And I got to ask you, when your aunt gave you all those records back when, was Black Sabbath Paranoid one of them?
Paranoid was not one of them. However, the first Black Sabbath was, and that was a game changer for me. That record scared the shit out of me. When I was a little kid, I like turn off the lights and that riff, the that
Yeah, it's just
that's the devil's interval right there. Yeah.
yes, it is. That is the demon
Yeah.
chord, Tony Iommi demon chord.
It's the in classical music that was referred to as the devil's interval, the flat five.
Yeah, the
So there you go.
imagery that thanks for doing that, dude. Yeah, the imagery and the lyrics. I was a teenager myself when I first heard that in my parents' basement, and standing at the foot of my bed and Eyes of Fire and all this kind of stuff. And then I heard the Live Evil part with Dio. If you ever heard that version.
Yep.
Do
I
you?
actually saw the tour, the Black and Blue tour.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with Dio and
Nice.
Blue Oyster Cult.
Killer. Oh, Black and Blue.
Yeah.
What year was that?
I don't know. I was a little kid. I was probably 13, something like that.
Okay. All right. Yeah,
And Ronnie James Dio doing this all night. Yeah.
you do that really well. Yeah. Dio, man.
It's very rare that you see me do that. So.
All right. I'm going to screenshot that. That's going to be the thumbnail of this episode. You know it.
All right. There you go.
Yeah, Dio brought this energy to those lyrics, and I remember being a teenager completely scared too. But Paranoid, 1971, it turns it turns 51. I think that's 51. 51. But Bowie,
Yep.
You were into Bowie back when. Was Bowie in your aunt's collection?
It was. Yeah.
Okay.
Ziggy Stardust, I think, was in that
Stardust
collection.
All right. Yeah.
Which was a huge impression on me.
Yeah. How so?
Just the, there's something about that.
I got
Are you okay? Did you
Uh,
have a seizure? Okay,
No,
you're back.
I asked no one first right here. Very first. This is fun. You're doing this, and I'm all over the fucking place. All right.
Yeah, that's going to be actually my screenshot. Is the shot of your foot.
Yeah, and my cassettes. Cassettes.
So yeah. So yeah, that record. I mean, just the imagery of that record and how it was just like from a different planet. I mean, there was nothing like that at that time. I mean, at that time when I heard it, it was well after the fact,
Yeah.
But
right.
yeah, he was, and also, what else was in there was I think Lodger, maybe. It was one of the later Bowie ones, at that time, which I also thought was great.
Okay. Yeah, the reason I ask about Bowie, well, Changes, the single was released in 1972 today in January 7th. A lot of my favorite rock and rollers, such as yourself, that I admire so much, David Bowie is usually a common, guy that people bring up that I won't see coming. So very, very cool. And you're a James Bond fan. So Dr. No, that was released in 1962 today, January the 7th. And you did a James Bond cover on the Guitar Hero World Tour in '08. You a Bond fan?
Mm-hmm. I am. I actually, the reason I did that, I had scored the video game. I think it was Quantum of Solace. It was the video game for that. And I scored that video game. And after I did the score for the video game, they said, hey, because it was Activision, I think, which also put out Guitar Hero. So they said, would you be interested in doing a version of the theme for Guitar Hero? So that's how that came about. And then I subsequently did it on tours after that as a solo spot.
Yeah, how'd it feel to be up on stage giving James Bond to the people? I mean, are you a Sean Connery guy, Daniel Craig guy with Quantum of Solace?
Sean Connery was really to me, is Bond, but I think Daniel Craig's done a great job.
Yes. Oh, he definitely has done. He did a great job. Thunderball, I love that one. Is there a Connery movie that you like a lot? From Russia with Love, Goldfinger?
Probably Goldfinger was the biggest one for me.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Brought James Bond in a Guns N' Roses show. I mean, you go to a Guns N' Roses show, you're getting Looney Tunes in the beginning, and That's All Folks at the end, and Godfather. It's just, you guys wear your influences on your sleeve. You're one of the biggest, most world-renowned bands, and we're going to get to that in a sec. But today's quote comes from Floyd Money Mayweather. He just said 2 words: hard work. Hard work. Hard work. And you, my friend, my new friend, are such a hard worker. At the age of 4, you picked up the drums, I understand, and the violin.
Mm-hmm.
And then shortly after that, was the guitar at age 12. And if you could just describe to our viewers, I'm not a guitarist. I got a static X sign guitar. I mean, how does it feel? I know the feeling when I hold sticks or when I hold a hockey stick or, what have you, a video game controller. But if you could just describe, maybe if you have your white Falcon there with Gretsch, what does the guitar mean to you when
I
you?
don't have a white Falcon. I have my black Falcon that I
Okay,
just
cool.
played. I mean, as far as what it feels like, it that's like saying, what does it feel like to walk around with your arms, like attached to your body? It's an appendage. It's like it's very much a part of me, So, and it feels like an extension of my body. I don't know how else to describe it.
Well, that's a good answer right there because back at the age of 12, you got your first guitar, and look at you now, man. You got a signature Gretsch. You got signature humbucker pickups, if I said that correct. A fuzz box.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
all these things. You have such a presence in that instrument, man. That's got to feel pretty goddamn cool.
I'm very passionate about gear.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, I love gear.
Yeah, I could tell.
It's that constant quest for the perfect guitar tone.
Yeah, and you've really accomplished that. Shit, the few times I've seen you recently. Gretsch is a guitar company that you partnered up with, and you created your own Falcon, the Gretsch guitar. They're based currently out of
Two of them.
Yeah, Savannah, Georgia.
Two of them.
Two of them. Yep.
Yeah, a black and white one.
Yeah, it's just the big body, man. I see you. I just had KK Downing on the show, amazing, last week, and I associate the.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, man, it was great. Nice 45.
Flying V, yeah, for sure.
Dude, yeah, Flying V with him, and when I see you, when I think about you, the word "cool" comes first to mind. I will say, cool. You're fucking cool, man.
Very kind.
All right, and that the big body of the Gretsch, it's really not common for rock and rollers up there to be just doing your 360s and everything. What is it about Gretsch that really stood out to you to really partner up with them?
Gretsch has always been sort of the rock and roll guitar tone. I think it's an essential part of rock and roll. From Malcolm Young. I mean, this really is the sound of AC/DC. Without that, that's the power of AC/DC, in my opinion. And that was all Gretsch. And the way it couples with Angus's tone, that's really integral to that band's sound. And also, I mean, I think what I do with Slash and complementing Slash's tone, that's why Gretsch works so well with his tone. It just sort of sits around what he's doing and supports it.
Yeah, it fills it out, and you've definitely you've quoted Gretsch as the tone of rock and roll, and with Malcolm Young and Led
It is very much.
Right.
Yeah. Is
there a guitar that you would love to just someone's signature guitar, Brian May or Tony Iommi, if you were to play, dead or alive, a guitar, Hendrix? Whose would it be, and maybe what song would you play on that guitar?
I think Jimmy Page's #1 guitar his Les Paul, his 59. I think that would be sort of, Hendrix's, yes, but Hendrix's guitar was a right-handed guitar flipped over left-handed, so I can't play left-handed. And it would just be a normal Strat if you turned it back the other way. So I'd say Jimmy Page's Les Paul.
Okay. Well, that's a really
his #1.
He's #1. Okay. Well, I wanted to show you something.
He's #1 Les Paul. He's got a few, but the #1 Les Paul is the one that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll find a picture of that, and it's going to be right here, or it's going to be right there.
Okay.
I don't know. It's going to be somewhere. But I want to show you something here, man. I told KK last week this is going to be the last time I show it to anyone on the show. I asked no one, but this is signed by Page and Plant, my friend. And
very cool.
My uncle got this in an auction, and my younger brother Leonard's in Oregon in the wine business, and I'm the safekeeper of this. So I wanted to show you this before this comes up on a wall or something.
Cool.
Yeah, man. Bad fucking ass. So, yeah, we were talking about guns a little bit, but yeah, we're going from With the Eyes was your first band that you ever formed, and that became Pale Divide. Pale Divide.
Pale Divine.
Pale Divine. Pale Divine. Okay.
Yeah.
And then
we changed the name when we got signed to Atlantic.
Nice. Love Spit Love, Tommy Stinson. You did some shit with the Crystal Method, Psychedelic Furs, the Daisies, but you described your pinnacle of your career recently as jamming with Thin Lizzy. And if you just want to describe how that felt.
For me, that was huge. I was growing up, I was a huge fan of Thin Lizzy. So, and they really helped form my ideals of what rock and roll was. And so that was a huge thing for me to be a member of that band and to tour with them. It was a real honor.
Yeah,
especially considering the lineage of guitar players that came through that band. Some of my favorite guitar players were in that band, from Scott Gorham to Brian Robertson to Gary. I mean, it's just they've had an incredible lineup.
Yeah. I mean, geez, dude. In 2011, you were jamming with Vivian Campbell from Thin Lizzy, as I understand. He went over back to Def Leppard and in came you. And one of my pals, Troy Sanders, bassist for Mastodon, he had the pleasure a few years back of jamming with them. He just described that as just the similar way you describe jamming with Thin Lizzy and all those guys. Was there a song or songs that you loved the most when you got up on stage and you're looking, you got Scott Gorham over there and it's like, whoa.
Yeah, Black Rose was a big one for me. That was sort of Gary Moore's signature song. And also playing Still in Love with You. That was probably my favorite thing to play.
It's funny you mentioned Black Rose because for a while in quarantine, the Lars Ulrich and his family used to play Black Rose. They would eat dinner to Black Rose every night. Little fun fact for you there.
Yeah, well, that's why Axl has one tattooed on his arm.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Black Rose. I couldn't even tell you how the song goes. I got to check that song out.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Apparently. But I mentioned the word cool. I mean, that's what comes to mind when you think of you. Steve Stevens I had on recently. Are there some guitarists out there that just maybe the word cool comes first in mind? I just have to ask because you're just the coolest, man.
Well, I mean, obviously Keith Richards and Ron Wood are sort of the pinnacle of cool in my book. And then and Jimmy Page. Those guys really sort of coined our ideals of what cool is, or at least for me.
Yeah. Agreed, man. But we were just talking about Lars Ulrich. Lars was in the Better music video with Guns N' Roses in 2008, which is kind of funny to see him in there. And then another one of my guitarist buddies was on Bumblefoot, and I never knew that Lars got up on stage with you guys. You know, you joined Guns in 2002. You guys jammed Out to Get Me. So if you could just describe maybe the difference between Frank, your buddy you've been jamming with for all these years, and Lars. How did that feel to play with Lars?
It was very different. He's got a very different pocket than Frank does. And to be honest, it really sort of threw us all that night, you know. And we had rehearsed with him too, but we got up on stage and Axl was like, "I thought you guys rehearsed." And we did rehearse. But he's a great guy. Lars is a great guy, and I've had a lot of good times with him.
Yeah, is there a moment that stands out?
But Lars is amazing in Metallica. Like, he is built to do that gig, you know. That is him, and only he could do that, you know, what he does.
Yeah, that's very, very true. He was quoted in A Year and a Half of Life Metallica DVD as, if you want weight, I'm your fucking guy. And that's what he does. He brings that weight. I've got blood blisters, formed over because, it's that Metallica power, and I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
was just in San Francisco for their 40th anniversary, and that was quite a celebration right there. But let's see. Yeah, with Guns though, with Axl, there's the few new songs that you guys played, Hard School
Mm-hmm.
and Absurd. And Absurd had that lyric in there, pussy full of maggots or fucking banshees or something like that. I loved hearing that song. That was funny. Saw you in Hershey Park when you guys came back from quarantine. I mean, how was it to get back up on stage in front of fans again and just to feel that in the night sky in the stadium?
After being off for that much time, it was very awkward. I'll be honest with you, that was a tough show. It was trying to get your sea legs back. And it doesn't matter how much you rehearse leading up to that. When you step on stage, it's a totally different set of muscles. I mean, it's a whole different thing. And it was it was a shock, getting back on stage. And I think, it took us a bit to get it together.
Wouldn't have been able to tell, my man. And Ashlyn, we went to S&M too. I've taken her to shows. Elton John was our first date, for Christ's sake. I mean, row 2 was incredible. But this show, Hershey Park, this was her favorite show I've taken her to. She just,
that's cool.
I looked over at her and I cut a line to get this because I was not getting this. So when you're at Guns N' Roses shows, you got to break some rules, right? At least one. So I want to show you. I don't want to fuck this one up here. This is the poster from that show, and I gotta say, man, it's no bias here. I think it's one of the best ones from the show, July 31st last summer. So,
yeah.
Did any of you guys?
The first time we played Hershey, I have a poster from that.
Oh, really?
The same stadium. Yeah, but it was from the first time we played there, and it's also a very cool poster.
Do you put these posters up in your basement? Do you have a man cave, if you will?
No, to be honest, I don't have them up because I have a lot of them. But we have a loft that we own that's in downtown St. Louis that I think I'm gonna put a collection from 2015 up down there.
Yeah, your guys' poster game is like one of the best in the industry, man.
Yeah, they're really good. We work with local artists on each one.
Yeah, that's.
I think it's a really cool thing.
Yeah, it really comes through. Deftones rocks it out. Pearl Jam. I mean, Metallica. I mean, I've seen them 42 times around the world. They're my guys. But Guns N' Roses got the poster down, and just as far as you with Guns N' Roses and you coming back. I mean, having Slash and Duff back in the fold. I was there, man. I was living in LA, and the Troubadour, you guys came back in April of 2016, and there was the Tower Records that reopened. And if you could just maybe describe how that experience was getting back with, being a part of Duff and Slash, and now there's only 2 guitarists in Guns N' Roses. I mean, wow.
It was that was a great night. I'll tell you what was great about that night. I mean, obviously the bad part was Axl broke his foot, but the great part about it was the fact that we took everybody's phones. And in Los Angeles, that sort of it made a huge difference, that because people were focused on the band and not worried about taking cell phone videos or selfies, and you know what I mean? So that was really cool.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I know Queens of the Stone Age, they post on their socials, hey, they got the phone and they got the cross through it, no phones. And I was out front of the building, man. I couldn't get in. The fire marshal was driving by just saying, hey, no more fucking people. No more people in there.
Oh, really?
Yes. I was
Oh, that sucks.
yeah, man. I was with Jesse Hughes of Eagles of Death Metal. He actually just got back into town from Australia touring. He was jet lagged. He was, maybe on I don't know, some relaxing thing, drugs or whatever. But we had a funny chat.
Jesse Hughes on drugs? I find that very difficult to believe.
Yeah, Jesse and his girlfriend Tuesday, and we made the time go by.
Jesse is no fan of ours, that's for sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, dude, he really wanted to get in there, man. That was funny.
I bet probably for nefarious reasons.
Okay.
Yeah, Jesse's no fan of the band for sure.
Gotcha, man.
They opened for us, and I think it was probably their first show. They were going to do a tour with us, and the first show they were getting booed and walked off stage. Like, he said something and then walked off stage, which I think really pissed Axl off. Because I mean, Guns paid their dues and were out opening for people and supporting people, getting booed and shit thrown at them, and you don't walk off stage. No matter how bad it gets, you finish your set. You get through it, and I think that really pissed him off. And he said something on stage and called them the Eagles of shit metal, and or the Pigeons of shit metal. That's what it was. And which they in turn wore that moniker as a Medal of Honor for quite a while.
No kidding.
I remember, but yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but I don't think Jesse's much of a fan, because they were thrown off the tour.
Okay. All right. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, I saw one of my biggest drum influences there, Sean Kinney, and I want to say Jim Carrey showed
Oh
up.
my God, Sean's so amazing. Sean's awesome.
Is he
probably one of the funniest guys I know?
Right. He's just a fucking riot, man. Him and Bron Daler of Mastodon, future guest. He's gonna be coming on. Fellow Bills Mafia, go Bills.
Man, that new Mastodon record's amazing.
Oh, you like it? Hushed and Grim?
I think they're great.
They have so much to offer with their sound, don't they?
Yeah, definitely pushing the envelope. I love what they do.
Constantly evolving album artworks. They mean it, and for just a bunch of sarcastic, funny guys, they really, when it comes to songwriting, I absolutely agree. Were there some songs off of Hushed and Grim, or maybe off their previous efforts, that you really love listening to?
Well, the album before
Emperor of Sand.
What's it called?
Yeah, Emperor of Sand.
That's not the one I'm thinking of.
One Small Sun, The Hunter, Crack the Sky.
Crack the Sky. I love that record.
Yeah.
But what was there's a couple of incredible songs off there. Sorry, I'm looking at my phone to find that record. Man, I have not seen them live, and I would love to.
Hell of a show, as expected. Bron on vocals a lot these days. Troy.
Yeah, Crack the Sky. Man, what a great record. That's what really that's what really turned me on to them. Like that record and Oblivion, and just, man, great songs. And they're really prog, they're different, and they're very much themselves. And I love that.
Yeah, it's very, very true. It was 2009 Headbangers Ball. That's the record I discovered Mastodon on. And I'll send it to you. I'll email it to you when we finish up here. I was in their High Road music video. I was a musketeer, that died. Unfortunately, I died. And I'll include a link below to that video. It's good shit. That was a fun time. Fuck yeah, Mastodon. But, you know, we're talking about you staying in shape and going back out on stage at Hershey Park, and you're just like, you know, you're just kind of feeling like jello. You guys play for 3.5 hours, man. Metallica, up until recently, they played 18 songs a night. Now they're playing 16 songs. You guys go up there, and it's a fucking marathon, man. It's very admirable. And um, man, I was working out my chest this week, and I was thinking about you because you got some pecs, man. You got some pecs, and for your age, I mean, what are you doing these days for workout?
um, I same thing I've always done. I actually recently for the last, I guess, 2 years, I've been focusing on a 5x5 program. But I run every day and then go to the gym, and I do the same on the road. Though my workouts on the road are pretty different because it's hard to lift heavy when you're on the road. But also, as I get what no, it's not that. It's more a matter of finding gyms, because every hotel has a gym, but you can't go heavy because most of them don't have a real bench, or it's just different. So you have to modify your workouts.
And when you go into the workout, when you're doing weights, are you in there for an hour, 2 hours? Do you just kind of going with the flow and seeing what
Yeah.
gives you?
It depends on what I'm working and what I'm doing that day. But yeah, an hour to 2 hours.
Okay. All right. But running every day, got a fellow
Mhm.
runner here on IANO one. That's great. I mean, are your knees all right? Your
Yeah.
ankles?
My
Yeah.
knees are solid. Yeah, I mean, it's cold. I know it's cold there too. It's cold here, and but I'm still out there every day.
Good for you, man.
I can't do treadmills. I have to run outside.
Just too boring, just monotonous on the treadmill.
It's a very different workout. I mean, I'm sure it's if you're a runner, it's a very different thing. Like, I struggle to run 6 miles on a treadmill, but like outside, it's easy. It's I don't know. It's a totally different thing. It's a different experience.
It is a completely different experience. The breathing indoors versus outdoors,
Hmm.
the change in
Yeah.
landscapes and everything, man. I was just out here last night. It snow up to my ankles. I ran 5 miles, and it's very, very admirable how much you stay on top of it and you're staying consistent, clearly. And when you go out there on stage, it's both you slash everyone, especially Duff. I mean, Duff. I have a battle vest. I was gonna wear that today, but got my Troubadour shirt here, April Fools 2016, and of course this wear with pride. Um, but Duff, man, he's boxing. He's some of the best triceps I've ever seen in the business. I mean, do you guys
Well,
work out?
yeah. Duff had an accident. I think skiing or water skiing, and it cut into his arm. So on his right side, um, it really sort of affected his arm, but it made it look great. But if you look like the left arm to the right arm, you can see where that injury is.
What that's wild. And you're recovering fine from your motorcycle accident. I know that was in 2015, right?
Yeah, fortunately, I recovered great from the accident. I just recently had a ruptured disc in my thoracic spine, which really was the most terrifying experience of my life. And for a couple of months, well, probably about a month, I couldn't play guitar at all, and didn't know if I was going to be able to. And it was a very scary experience, but I came out of it fine. Everything. I didn't have to have surgery, so I'm all good.
Good. Yikes. That happened in the past year or so recently.
Yeah, yeah,
Good. Very happy to hear you're feeling better, stretching and
yeah. Soon it happened right after we got home from tour.
shit. Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, as far as any hobbies go, well, just to go back to Duff real quick, What's one word that you would use to describe Duff McKagen?
Honorable. He's a good guy. He's a good dude.
He seems like a really good guy. He's got 3/4 in the truth on Sirius XM, Ozzy's Boneyard, which is always a good listen with his wife Susan. Saw Duff in Walking Papers back in 2014 in Prague, Czech Republic, and just to be
we toured with Walking Papers.
Oh shit, really?
We toured together. Well, when I was in the Dead Daisies, we toured with Walking Papers and Alice in Chains.
Wow. Yeah, Jeff Angel. He's a nice guy, right? Jeff Angel. Did I say
great guy, and a real talent, and a great guitar player. But I love his lyrics. I love his storytelling. Really talented.
Yeah, he was just. I've met him a few times. Him and Barrett Martin and those guys. But with Alice,
Barrett's incredibly talented too.
Yeah, that's the one thing he told me as a drummer. We got talking drums, and he said, "Oh God, what did he say? It was the feel. It's all about the feel." And one of the first songs I ever learned on these fucking suckers at the haunted house that we actually bought was "I Don't Know Anything" by Mad Season, and just the whole kind of that's how my Sean Keeney kind of pounding. Yeah, but
yeah.
Use Your Illusions coming up on 20 years, and you talk about Alice in Chains. Or 20 years.
Wait, 20 years?
Yeah, 30 years. 30 years. And you bring up Alice in Chains. Jerry Cantrell, the guitar player, how does he hit you? And have you heard his new record, Brighton?
No, I haven't, but Jerry's a monster player. And when it comes to big, like huge guitar tone, he's like the man. I've always loved his guitar tone. When you stand on stage next to his guitar, it's like, it sounds fucking amazing. Yeah, he's a great guy. But yeah, he's a great player.
You bring up his tone. I think when he hangs a note, again, I'm no guitarist, but when I hear that hanging on a guitar note, I think no one does that better, right? I mean, oh, love it. Yeah. His latest record, Brighton, is killer. Go check that out if you haven't already. But
I will.
Going back to Guns here, stadiums, man. When I think of Guns N' Roses, stadiums. And the Not in This Lifetime tour, when Slash Duff came back in the fold with Axl, and you got you and Frank and Melissa and Dizzy, you earned so $584 billion in ticket sales, or is it no? $584 billion total earned between 2016 and 2019, most of which were stadiums. 6 continents, 158 concerts. Absolutely awesome, man. Is there a stadium that you've played in this past run with Axl and Slash that you really liked playing in, that stood out to you?
Boy, I don't know what stadium really, for me, the stadium that we played in St. Louis was because when we did, I think it was 2016 when we played that stadium, because it was the first time I'd played in St. Louis with Guns in my 20-year history. That was the only time we played in St. Louis because of the riot.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah, there was a riot back on the Illusions tour. And they never played St. Louis again.
Yes, that's right.
Until that show.
Okay. Well, you had your family and friends watching you with Guns N' Roses up there, and your school teacher.
Yeah. I had to buy a lot of tickets.
Okay, so you're buying those tickets. You're not like, oh, here you go, like Lloyd Christmas. Here you go. Here you go.
No, whenever, with any band that's playing big arenas or big stadiums, and you've got a promoter like Live Nation that is guaranteeing the band a certain amount, they're not going to they only give so many tickets to you. So generally, like, I only have a couple of tickets per show, but I bought tickets for that. I think I bought 50 and got 50 free, something like that.
All right. Yeah, that must have been awesome, man. And when I was living in LA, yeah, I almost stayed in the Troubadour, but I was there in Vegas. I made the 5-hour drive up, and
Oh, cool.
yeah, saw you guys at T-Mobile.
So you got to see, you saw him when Axl was in the chair. That was the first night of the chair.
Yeah, first night in the chair, and it was he handed that chair off to Dave Grohl, if I remember correctly, when Dave
Grohl gave it to him.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
He lent it to us. Dave, we flew it down that day, and Dave came down with the chair.
Oh.
And so we had never rehearsed with Axl in that throne. So we had to, going on stage that night, had to figure out how he was going to get in it. And, that was a crazy show that you saw. It was also the first time Slash and I did Wish You Were Here.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, because we were at soundcheck at that arena that day, and we were trying to figure out how Axl was going to get from the throne into a wheelchair to be wheeled out to the piano for November Rain. So he said, he's like, man, you guys got to cover me. You got to do something like in this time because it's going to take a while from, So Slash looked at me and he's like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, do you know Wish You Were Here? And I'm like, well, of course, everybody knows Wish You Were Here. So he started playing it. And this is in soundcheck. And then I started playing the melody. And that's how that came about. We just did it one time at soundcheck, and it was not rehearsed. I mean, just the band just sort of kicked in and behind us, and that was it. And that was like, we did that for that full tour. And it was really my favorite moment of that tour was, every night when we would do that, because it was so different every night.
Yeah, and that's what you get with Guns N' Roses when you go see them. It may be the same songs here and there in the structure, but loose, fun.
The structure is always loose. There's it changes.
Yeah, you put in what's the lyric? Pussy full of maggots, absurd, in the top of the set, or put it at the end. I love that.
Well,
line.
we don't really have set lists per se.
Right.
Sometimes we'll get into a vibe and we'll do a set over and over, but generally there's sections of the show where you never know what Axl's gonna call.
Okay.
Or he'll say, what do you guys want to do? And then everyone sort of chimes in.
Was that an Axl impression that you just did there?
No, it was not.
Oh, okay. I'm just wondering. What's one word that you would use to describe Axl Rose, Richard?
Probably would shock a lot of people, but funny. He's one of the funniest guys I know. He's incredibly smart and very witty, very fast.
Yeah, he seems it. And there's one word that you use to describe him. Well, not one word, but you talked about his integrity a few years ago. And
absolutely. Yeah. Artistic integrity for sure.
Yeah, like he knows what he wants with Guns N' Roses. And I mean, as a performer, when you're with him up on stage, you've played with a lot of people. How does he compare, or maybe doesn't compare, to other singers that you've worked with?
Standing next to I've never had the same intensity. Standing next to Axl on stage is I've never been on stage with any other singer that has that level of intensity. When he's on stage, he's exercising demons. I mean, a lot of times, things are coming out of him. He's getting shit. He's working shit out on stage, He's the real deal, and there aren't many of those cats.
You guys are coming out on stage, on time. more often than not these days. And fuck, man, it's just, yeah, it's, I got some friends, you know, we're going to see Guns N' Roses, and it's just everyone's just like, oh, I can't wait to see Axl. I can't wait to see Axl. And do you ever romanticize about old Axl or old Guns N' Roses? Like, oh, what if I had Gilby's job back then? Or you ever think about like, oh, you know, what if I was with the band back when?
You know, that time had its tribulations as well. I think that there was definitely a different set of challenges at that time for that band. And I'm glad I don't have that to contend with. You know, we all sort of grow up or you die. And it's nice to be in a band with guys that are adults and act like adults and are responsible and take it very seriously, you know. And it's our band works really hard, you know. We rehearse really hard and we take it really seriously.
Again, just bringing up the Hershey Park, it took you a little bit to get back in the mode of playing these 3 hour, 3.5 hour concerts. What do you do when you warm up? Are you guys together backstage right before? You still get those nerves going to this day?
Yeah, sure. But I think, you know, that day or that show, it wasn't a physical thing, you know. Obviously, as far as like getting through a show, a 3.5 hour show or whatever, it's not that element. It's actually just doing it, you know, standing up there and getting in your vibe, you know, doing, you know, it was sea legs, you know. It's like when you are on a boat for the first time in a long time, you have to acclimate to that again. And that's very much what it was. It was acclimating to the stage. And it took a little while for us to get it to where we were comfortable again, you know?
Right. And you're up there. Wish You Were Here was such a great rendition. In fact, that month after Vegas with Wish You Were Here, David Gilmour played the Hollywood Bowl, and that was a hell of an experience. But with Slash, just talking about Slash now.
I was at that show.
Oh, were you?
The Hollywood Bowl show, yeah.
Okay. I just had my bunion chopped off, so I had my like roller. So I upgraded from nosebleeds to, you know, it was rolling down down there, and it just, how sick was that show, right? Fat Old Son, Astronomy Domine, and what have you. Time.
Yeah. Astronomy Domine is one of my favorite Floyd songs.
Yeah. How so? Just the trippiness of it?
Yeah, I love the early Floyd stuff, the Syd Barrett era. Like that's my favorite.
Yeah. Sauce for Little Secrets and Pompeii a little bit after that was killer. But one word to describe Slash?
Legend. Yeah, there's a reason that guy's a legend. Yeah, I think for the rest of history, when people discuss rock and roll and the legends of rock and roll, he's a legendary guitar player, and there's no way around that. You know, him and Van Halen and Jimi Hendrix, Jimmy Page, like those are the guys that really changed things. And he'll always be remembered like that. And there's a very good reason why, you know. And it's an honor for me to be able to play with him every night, for sure. And you know what? Just to be able to listen to him play every night is a big thrill for me.
Yeah, I have to ask, man, you're playing all these stadiums and all these different languages and different continents and everything, and you look stage left over there, there's Slash. I mean, fuck, I mean, like when you're playing these notes, and there's Slash and there's Axl and there's Duff. I mean, that's just, I just had to have my moment right there, just to be like, you know, the Chris Farley, like Paul McCartney, like, oh, that was cool, right? I mean, dude, fucking cool, so cool. So, uh,
Yeah, there's a lot of times when over the last 5 years when I've stood in these massive stadiums and you look out and it's just as far as you can see as people, a sea of people, and it's overwhelming sometimes. It's like, what the hell am I doing here? How did I get here?
yeah, God bless you, man. You talk about how Slash is a legend, and he definitely is. But dude, when I think of rhythm guitarists, I think of Malcolm Young, and I think about you. So keep
Thank you very much.
that shit up, man.
Think about you. I love that song.
Think about you. Yeah, no pun intended there. But lastly, Steven Adler. You've jammed with him a few times. Argentina, Dodger Stadium. The comparison between Frank Ferrer and Adler, is there a comparison when you guys are playing with them? The drum?
They're very different drummers, very different feels. You know, um, Steven has this thing where he sits back behind the beat. He plays behind the beat, and Frank is on the beat. I mean, he drives it. He's like a locomotive. Um, and the
Good
way
call.
Steven plays, it feels like he's just like hanging on. It's a different. All drummers play differently. There's so many different feels and ways to approach the same song. And I've been very fortunate to play with some of the greatest, and yeah, they're very different.
Yeah, they certainly are. But yeah, Adler, he'll come out, he'll play My Michelle or Out to Get Me, a few of these shows here and there, and it's always cool to see him smiling back there. But Frank, you're right. He is a locomotive, man. He's muscular, lean, sound just for 3 hours straight. Another guy. I mean, geez, you ever work out with him?
No, Frank. Well, I mean, occasionally I'll see him in the gym. It's generally I see Slash and Duff in the gym every day. I mean, the three of us are every day.
You roll through town, you find the gym that you guys are going to go to, or do you have your dumbbells in the dressing
We
room?
generally have to work out at we generally have to work out at the hotel gyms.
Okay. And you rent out the gym just for you three?
Sometimes we'll block out the gym just for us. Yeah, depending on where it is and what the situation is.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, thanks for sharing all that good shit, man. I'm going to switch gears here a little bit. So we have Richard Fortus here, Guns N' Roses, Monitored, episode 83. For every new subscriber, I donate $10 to the American Foundation Suicide Prevention, of which I'm on the board. I've got an event going on in Houston later this month. It's going to be great. But may I ask if you've been affected by suicide? Have you lost anyone, and how maybe has their loss impacted you?
I have had friends that have committed suicide. I've had a lot more friends die accidentally though. But how has it affected me? I mean, the fact that somebody would be in that much pain, yeah, that really affects me. That they would choose to take their own life rather than try and live another day. That somebody would be in that much pain, is awful.
Yeah. Well, if I would say if Chester Bennington taught me or any of us anything, and Chris Cornell and these seemingly really happy guys that have everything going, is depression has no face. And me came out of nowhere. I was diagnosed with it in 2016 when I'm going to see Guns N' Roses at Las Vegas and doing all these fun things. Just kind of came out of nowhere, and it's a chemical imbalance in the brain. And
Right.
About a few years after that, I lost my very good buddy Michael J. Holden, and I've got a funds there in the link below. That again, subscribe. I add another $10 to that. But yeah, that was crazy. But you just it's important to talk about it and get it out.
Well, I mean, I deal with this with my daughter has a chemical imbalance, and we deal with it every day, and but thankfully we have medication that helps with that and with that imbalance. And if you had a bad liver, you would take medication to help that. If you had, what I mean, if you have a cold, you take medication it's the same. If there's something out there that will help the imbalance, you take it.
Yeah. And if it doesn't work,
it's important. And you also do the rehab. You also do the work to help yourself.
Yep.
With therapy, it's important.
Yeah. And it's up to you. You got to make that decision. No one else will make it.
That's right.
And if the medicine's not working, switch it and then switch it again.
That's it. Finding the right medication is a long process sometimes.
Yes. So yeah, I really appreciate you sharing there. And Black Hole's Son, you guys covered that by Soundgarden when you guys came through Buffalo, the Rich Stadium, and what a tribute that was for the almighty Chris Cornell. Whose suggestion was that, and how did it feel to
Axl?
It was all Axl, huh?
Axl, huge Cornell fan, huge. Love Chris's voice. Okay. And I mean, obviously, we were all Soundgarden fans, but yeah, Axl loved Chris's voice and always was a big supporter.
Yeah. Well, obviously, he was inspired by Chris Cornell's voice. I mean, Scott Ian of Anthrax, he said that people in the business knew him as the voice. But Black Hole's Son, that was how was it to play it on guitar? Was it not too tough to play Kim's parts or Shepard's?
It's just a great song. It's a great song. Yeah, it was fun to do that.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, well, I'm sure it was pretty cool. I mean, you have your daughters Clover and Paisley, and Clover is in a band called Poster Logic. You're able to see her play.
Yeah,
on stage, huh?
She's actually, the Poster Logic's going to be supporting my first band, Pale Divine, when we're doing a show in a few weeks, and she's supporting us here in St. Louis. But I just took the band into the studio and recorded 10 tracks with them, and I'm actually here working on that now.
All right. Yeah. Well, we'll keep a lookout for that. And
she just turned 14 yesterday.
Oh, really? Happy 14th birthday to Clover.
Yeah. I'll tell you said so.
Yes. And that's from Kevin and Ryan. I have a twin brother in Athens, Greece. So Kevin and Ryan, 14. 14 was a good year.
Right on.
Yeah. But just finishing up.
It's a tough one. 14's tough, 8th grade.
8th grade. Yeah. Do you remember when you were in 8th grade in St. Louis?
I do. Playing
the guitar.
Yeah. Yep. 14. That's a rough year. 8th grade's tough,
You're going
9th grade gets easier. Yeah. See, in St. Louis, when I was a kid, 7th and 8th grade was middle school. And then, you go to high school the next year. And so she'll start high school next year.
And then Paisley is how old, Richard?
She's 16 and she's a junior.
Okay. So Clover has an older sister to kind of show her the ropes, if you will. Huh?
There's not a whole lot of rope showing, but
all right.
They're but a little bit.
Okay. Everyone's doing fine with COVID the past few years, and your wife Stephanie.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, we're all good. Thank you. We're all actually Clover. Since they just allowed the booster for 12 to 15, she'll be able to get her booster shot on Tuesday.
Good. That's great. Yeah. We'll keep a lookout. Poster Logic coming at you live.
Yeah, they're a great band. Very, very cool.
Just wrapping up here. 3 metal songs that give you the most goosebumps. Will come first to mind. Maybe some Black Sabbath. You mentioned one.
Yeah, the song Black Sabbath. Yeah. I'm not a huge metal fan. I think the Immigrant Song. Man, it's hard to. What do you classify as metal? That's
Yeah, hard rock, heavy metal, rock and
yeah. I
roll.
mean, Monkey Man by the Stones.
Right.
That's definitely one too.
What about Monkey Man?
For
I've
me.
never heard that song before. What's that song? How does that hit you, man?
Oh, really? Oh, well, you need to check it out.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Monkey Man. We'll check that out. And last question. It's 2022. I can't even believe it. Any bad habits, or maybe what's the one bad habit that you just want to eliminate doing this year?
I've stopped most of my bad habits. I think patience is something that I always try and be aware of, and something that I struggle with. Just staying centered and calm.
Well, as Axl says,
I think that's
you need a little patience.
indeed he does say that.
Yeah, which I have to ask you, Estranged or November Rain, when you're up on stage, which one are you feeling more emotionally attached to?
Estranged is definitely a lot of fun for me to play.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great song. Really, Slash's parts on that song are just beautiful.
They certainly are. I mean, what turns you on about that song besides Slash? Is the lyrics, there's the feel, the different layers of it?
The progression of that song, the way it develops, and it's a very unusual form, but very effective.
There was something about that song when in 2016 when I got into that song that actually helped me out a lot. And
oh, good.
Yeah, helped me out a lot. And I watched that video over and over. And when I got to see it live, it I'm sure when you go to see a band that you really like, and there's that song that is your song, that's your song. Estranged to me is that. And when I look up there and I see Richard and Slash just right in that starts, it's just out of body experience. So thank you for providing that for me.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah, man. But Guns N' Roses 20th anniversary, Use Your Illusion, turns 30
30th.
years old. Turns 30 years old. Alice in Chains Dirt turns 30 this year. You guys are going to be hitting Mexico, Europe, Australia, New Zealand later this year. Welcome to Rockville and Daytona Beach. It's going to be a party. But I just want to say thank you so much for chilling, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Really means
pleasure talking to you.
Yeah. And to our viewers, next week I got David Ellefson from The Lucid, formerly of Megadeth. That's going to be a killer chat. Wait till you hear some of the questions I'm going to be asking Dave. And again, if you like what you saw, subscribe, like. I donate $10 to the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention for every subscription. I thank you very much. So stay happy, stay healthy, stay hungry, and stay heavy. Richard, we'll see you in a bit, man.
Thanks.
Later.